Section 2 of The Woman of the Wood by Abraham Merritt. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Ben Tucker. Part 2. The mists that had hidden the coppice from McKay wavered, thinned, and were gone. In their place was a limpid, translucent, palely green ether, faintly luminous, as though he stood within some clear, wan emerald. His feet pressed a golden moss spangled with tiny, starry bluets. Fully revealed before him was the woman of the strange eyes and the face of unearthly beauty. He dwelt for a moment upon the slender shoulders, the firm, small, tip-tilted breasts, the willow litheness of her body. From neck to knees a smock covered her, sheer and silken and delicate as spun cobwebs. Through it her body gleamed as though fire of the young spring moon ran in her veins. He looked beyond her. There upon the golden moss were other women like her, many of them. They stared at him with the same wide-set green eyes in which danced the sparkling moonbeam motes. Like her, they were crowned with glistening, pallidly golden hair. Like hers, too, were their oval faces with the pointed chins and perilous alien beauty. Only where she stared at him gravely, measuring him, weighing him, there were those of these her sisters, whose eyes were mocking, and those whose eyes called to him with a weirdly tingling allure, their mouths athirst, those whose eyes looked upon him with curiosity alone, those whose great eyes pleaded with him, prayed to him. Within that pellucid, greenly luminous ether, McKay was abruptly aware that the trees of the coppice still had a place. Only now they were spectral indeed. They were like white shadows cast athwart a glaucous screen. Trunk and bough, twig and leaf, they arose around him, and they were as though etched in air by phantom craftsmen, thin and unsubstantial. They were ghost trees rooted in another space. He was aware that there were men among the women, men whose eyes were set wide apart as were theirs, as strange and pupilless as were theirs, but with irises of brown and blue, men with pointed chins and oval faces, broad-shouldered and clad in kirtles of darkest green, swarthy-skinned men, muscular and strong with that same lithe grace of the women, and like them of a beauty that was alien and elfin. McKay heard a little wailing cry. He turned. Close beside him lay a girl, clasped in the arms of one of the swarthy, green-clad men. She lay upon his breast. His eyes were filled with a black flame of wrath, and hers were misted, anguished. For an instant McKay had a glimpse of the birch that old Polio's son had sent crashing down into the boughs of the fir. He saw birch and fir as immaterial outlines around this man and this girl. For an instant, girl and man and birch and fir seemed to be one and the same. The scarlet-lipped woman touched his shoulder. "She withers," sighed the woman, and in her voice McKay heard a faint rustling, as of mournful leaves. "Now, is it not pitiful that she withers, our sister who was so young, so slender, and so lovely?" McKay looked again at the girl. The white skin seemed shrunken. The moon radiance that gleamed through the bodies of the others was still in hers, but dim and pallid. Her slim arms hung listlessly. Her body drooped. Her mouth was wan and parched, her long and misted green eyes dull. The palely golden hair was lusterless and dry. He looked on a slow death, a withering death. "May the arm that struck her down wither," said the green-clad man who held her, and in his voice McKay heard a savage strumming as of winter winds through bleak boughs. "May his heart wither and the sun blast him. May the rain and the waters deny him, and the wind scourge him." "I thirst," whispered the girl. There was a stirring among the watching women. One came forward holding a chalice that was like thin leaves turned to green crystal. She paused beside the trunk of one of the spectral trees, reached up, and drew down to her a branch. A slim girl with half-frightened, half-resentful eyes glided to her side and threw her arms around the ghostly bowl. The woman cut the branch deep with what seemed an arrow-shaped flake of jade, and held her chalice under it. From the cut, a faintly opalescent liquid dripped into the cup. When it was filled, the woman beside McKay stepped forward and pressed her own long hands around the bleeding branch. She stepped away, and McKay saw that the stream had ceased to flow. She touched the trembling girl and unclasped her arms. "It is healed," said the woman gently. "And it was your turn, little sister. The wound is healed. Soon you will have forgotten." The woman with the chalice knelt and set it to the wan, dry lips of her who was withering. She drank of it thirstily to the last drop. The misty eyes cleared. They sparkled. The lips that had been so parched and pale grew red. The white body gleamed as though the wan light within it had been fed with new. "Sing, sisters!" the girl cried shrilly. "Dance for me, sisters!" Again burst out that chant McKay had heard as he floated through the mists upon the lake. Now as then, despite his opened ears, he could distinguish no words, but clearly he understood its mingled themes. The joy of spring's awakening, rebirth, with green life streaming, singing up through every bough, swelling the buds, burgeoning with tender leaves the branches, the dance of the trees and the scented winds of spring, the drums of the jubilant rain on leafy hoods, passion of summer sun pouring its golden flood down upon the trees. The moon passing with stately steps and slow, and green hands reaching up to her and drawing from her breast milk of silver fire. Riot of wild gay winds with their mad pipings and strummings, soft interlacing of boughs, the kiss of amorous leaves. All these and more, much more than McKay could not understand since they dealt with hidden, secret things for which man has no images, were in that chanting. And all these and more were in the rhythms of the dancing of those strange green-eyed women and brown-skinned men, something incredibly ancient, yet young as the speeding moment. Something of a world before and beyond man. McKay listened. McKay watched, lost in wonder, his own world more than half forgotten. The woman beside him touched his arm. She pointed to the girl. "Yet she withers," she said, "and not all our life, if we poured it through her lips, could save her." He saw that the red was draining slowly from the girl's lips, that the luminous life tides were waning. The eyes that had been so bright were misting and growing dull once more. Suddenly a great pity and a great rage shook him. He knelt beside her, took her hands in his. "Take them away. Take away your hands, they burn me," she moaned. "He tries to help you," whispered the green-clad man gently, but he reached over and drew McKay's hands away. "Not so can you help her or us," said the woman. "What can I do?" McKay arose, looking helplessly from one to the other. "What can I do to help you?" The chanting died. The dance stopped. A silence fell, and he felt upon him the eyes of all these strange people. They were tense, waiting. The woman took his hands. Their touch was cool and sent a strange sweetness sweeping through his veins. "There are 3 men yonder," she said. "They hate us. Soon we shall all be as she is there, withering. They have sworn it, and as they have sworn, so will they do, unless—" She paused. The moonbeam dancing motes in her eyes changed to tiny sparklings of red. They terrified him, those red sparklings. 3 men? In his clouded mind was dim memory of Paulo and his 2 strong sons. 3 men, he repeated stupidly. But what are 3 men to you who are so many? What could 3 men do against those stalwart gallants of yours? No, she shook her head. No, there is nothing our men can do, nothing that we can do. Once, night and day, we were gay. Now we fear, night and day. They mean to destroy us. Our kin have warned us, and our kin cannot help us. Those 3 are masters of blade and flame. Against blade and flame we are helpless. Blade and flame, echoed the others. Against blade and flame we are helpless. Surely will they destroy us, murmured the woman. We shall wither, all of us, like her there, or burn, unless... Suddenly she threw white arms around McKay's neck. She pressed her body close to him. Her scarlet mouth sought and found his lips, and clung to them. Through all McKay's body ran swift, sweet flames, green fire of desire. His own arms went round her, crushed her to him. "You shall not die," he cried. "No, by God, you shall not." She drew back her head, looked deep into his eyes. "They have sworn to destroy us," she said. "And soon, with blade and flame, they will destroy us, those three, unless—" "Unless?" he asked fiercely. "Unless you slay them first," she answered. A cold shock ran through McKay, chilling the fires of his desire. He dropped his arm from around the woman, thrust her from him. For an instant she trembled before him. "Slay," he heard her whisper, and she was gone. End of Part 2.